We're back again this week. We're continuing on with our summer preview series, talking about every single player on the University of Louisville roster. Today is going to be running backs and offensive line. Roll that film. Welcome on in into the Cards Companion. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on when and where you're watching in from. I'm your main man, Josh. I'm joined by my two fabulous co-hosts today. I got James and I got Eric with me. Eric, how you doing tonight, brother?
Good, man. How you guys doing?
We're surviving. James, how you doing, dude?
We're doing great. Got out to the ballpark. Got out to the ballpark earlier. It's a great day in the Ville. We're recording this on the 26th of April, so obviously you got the Kings win, you got the baseball win, but thrilled to be able to have the opportunity to talk some football tonight.
Did you smoke a pack of smokes while you're at the ballpark?
That was bad.
You're fine, dude. I'm just messing with you. Now, really fun time in Louisville. Best time of the year with Derby season, but we're rolling right into our preview series that we're doing right now. Kind of pre whatever before we get into this. This is a multi-part series, so if you've not already checked out our first video of the series covering all the quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends, check that out. It'll be in the same video playlist, so smooth this transition. Along with that, this is just a short little bio, so we're not going to get super into certain guys. They're just due to time constraints, we don't want to have 6-hour videos, so this is kind of the way that we're doing it. But rolling right into the first position group that we're going to talk about is going to be the running backs, which is crazy to me with the amount of talent in the running back room. I don't think it's the most talented room on the roster, which is crazy to say when you're looking at guys like Isaac Brown and Kewan Brown and then very talented underclassmen in that room as well.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Josh. I think everybody knows Isaac and Kewan. I'll tell you what, man, Marquise Davis is just as good as those two guys. He was a 4-star running back out of high school. I know he was a top 10 back in the class of, I believe it was either 25 or 26. And he was committed to UK for a little while, then flipped to Missouri. But that dude is a Mack truck. I know he played some in the spring game and saw some action, but I really think get him in game shape and get him into a game, and he's going to surprise a lot of people this year.
I think there's a ton of potential throughout that room. I think it's very top heavy with Isaac and Kewan, obviously. You have your Thunder and Lightning back from last season. And hopefully the health is a little bit better this season with the extra weapons on the outside. But you also are a lot deeper in that room. Last year we went in thinking we were one of the best running back rooms in the country. And I think now it's even better than what it was going into last season.
Yeah, I agree. So let's get right into it. The first guy we're going to highlight here is Isaac Brown, obviously a running back. He's clocking in at 5'9", 190. He is a true junior. Coming to us from Miami, Florida. And I'll start us off with this one. I feel like there's not much more I can add to the Isaac Brown conversation that hasn't already been said. Uber shifty, uber talented, arguably one of the top 3 running backs going into next year's college football season. There's a very good chance that this kid is in New York for Heisman voting, in my opinion. I think he's one of the best running backs that we've ever had here at the University of Louisville. Just overall game, he's up there. And I think this is the guy that you're going to build your program around this season, and this is the guy that your offense is going to revolve around. Yes, we hit on it last video with you have guys like Lincoln Kindholtz and in that wide receiver room and tight end room, it's pretty deep. But just the overall talent with Isaac Brown is legitimately one of the top 15 best players in college football, and it's not very often the University of Louisville can say that about a player. What are you thinking, Eric?
Yeah, man, I agree with everything you said about Isaac. Dude is just probably one of the most talented players we've had here since Lamar, and that's not knocking anybody else that's played here since then or before then. But Isaac Brown, in my opinion, he's one of those guys that when he's on the field, he can change a game in one play. I mean, you've seen it last year when he was healthy, and he may be struggling for most of the game, and then he breaks a 80-yard touchdown run just like that. And having him in the offense is just something that you can't replicate anywhere else.
Isaac's one of those guys he's super shifty. Everybody knows how it is. We can talk about that for hours. His speed, he gets faster the longer he runs. pair that with his shiftiness, it's out of this world. One of the things people seem to be forgetting a lot is even whenever he did come back last year, he was still rehabbing that ankle. So he was never 100% at any point of last season. So a lot of the time when he was slow to get that big play, it's because he was having to be in for 4 plays and be out the next 15. So they're the kind of rhythm at the running back position we didn't have last year. I think Isaac's been gifted at, which we'll touch on later on in this video, a lot better of an offensive line and a lot deeper of an offensive line room. And I think you'll see a lot of big plays from this running back room, specifically Isaac Brown this year.
Well, the next guy that we have that we're going to be talking about is another Brown, but this time of the Keywan variety. That is Keywan Brown. Again, another running back, if you didn't know at this point. 5'10", 215. He is a redshirt junior from Atlanta, and he played at South Atlanta High School. I'll start off this conversation again also. Apologize, feel a little selfish after getting left out so much in the last video with nothing fun to say. Keywan Brown is a guy that I have seen on this roster, every Louisville fan has seen, develop so much into just a great all-around player. He's just kind of come lights out here at Louisville. He's the perfect 2-punch to Isaac's 1. He's a bigger guy. He's really good in goal line sets. When you need like a 3rd and 3, that's the guy I feel really comfortable with getting in there. And modern college football, he's one of those guys. He entered the transfer portal when it looked like the room was really, really loaded on talent 2 seasons ago, and Louisville was able to get him back and retain him, which is something the staff's done very well. But with Keywan specifically, he has just evolved his game so much. He uses his weight very well. He's a contact initiator. He's a contact seeker. And with all that being said, at 215 pounds, the dude can still run. He might not be as fast as Isaac Brown, but there's a very real argument that Keywan Brown is, at worst, the 3rd slowest person on the football field when he's on the football field.
Yeah, I love Keywan's size and his speed ability, like you said. And like you also said, he's the great second punch to Isaac. If you run Isaac and had to pull him out and you put Keywan in, you're not really losing hardly anything in the running back room. And that's something that not a lot of college teams can say right now. And retaining him and keeping him here, even with getting other guys out of the portal, is a big, big win for this team. And I fully expect him to be used quite a lot this coming season.
So Keywan's definitely the thunder to Isaac's lightning. His speed, like at times it caught beating you both off guard, Josh. Last year, a couple of those breakaway runs, specifically late in that Virginia Tech game, I think me and you both called each other and said, I didn't know Keywan was that fast. But he's got sneaky speed. He's really shifty. But my favorite part of Keywan is if you happen to cut his angle off, he is more than happy to run you over. And he's able to do that. He's able to kind of regain his balance really easily. And I think he's one of the better power backs in the ACC.
Yeah. We're talking about some great players, Eric. Do you know what makes you a great YouTube viewer?
What's that, Josh?
Well, it makes you a great YouTube viewer if you like this video. Leave us a comment about which player out of these position groups you're the most excited about, and then you subscribe to the channel. When you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, you're going to get free 24/7, 365 YouTube content covering Louisville football. The type of content that we provide with you guys, most places charge for, whether that be through a message board, some sort of a Discord service, anything like that. They charge you for that. We're giving it to you for free right into your inbox. And when you turn on notifications, you'll get notified on your phone that a new video is out. And my goodness, did we put out some phenomenal recruiting content. Next guy we're going to be highlighting, this is a new guy to the running back room, Lakey Tompkins. He's 6'2", 235, true freshman out of the 2025 recruiting class. He's from Jackson, Tennessee. He played at IMG Academy, and this guy is the future. He is a bulldozer of a back. I'll be honest, watching his highlight film, it reminds me of Michael Bush. He's that kind of a back. I think he loses a couple of pounds. He has I'm listed at 235. I think he kind of cuts up down to like 225. And this is a guy that's going to be problems in the future. This is a name you keep in your back pocket for your 27 season. This year specifically, I think he does see the field in a rotational aspect, but I don't think you actually see him get major reps this year, just because when we do talk about Isaac, Keywan, and then the next guy on the list, the room is very top heavy. But Lakey Thompson's Tompkins is investing into your future.
Yeah, man. I remember when Louisville was recruiting him in his recruitment last year, I referred to him as like baby Derrick Henry. I mean, his running style, he's a very, he's gonna hit the ground, he's gonna go, he's gonna put his foot in the ground, he's going to run people over. I'm super excited for what he brings to this offense going forward. Like you said, not so much this year, but down the road. If they can get him down to like between 225 and 230 playing weight, he is going to be a massive problem for people.
Tompkins is a guy. He played his senior year at IMG. He transferred in between his junior and senior year, and he saw a real boost in his rankings as Louisville was kind of recruiting him throughout his high school time while he was in Jackson. He's a guy he's got immense size at the running back position. His ability to be able to see the field at such a young age and his length allows him to be a real threat in the passing game, which we've seen in the past from Jeff Brohm. He loves to get his running backs involved. We haven't seen that as much with Isaac. So hopefully you can kind of see Leakey get some playing time utilized through the passing game. But I think he's going to be like I love the kind of comparison that you mentioned with Mike Bush. This is a way of being able to just have break-in speed along with power. I think he's the perfect running back, and it's a great piece to have as you bring along Briggs Cherry and the rest of the freshmen they brought in.
Yeah. Next guy on the list we're going to get down to is Marquise Davis, our first transfer portal addition. He's coming in at 6'0", 215. He's a redshirt freshman transferred in from Missouri, from ways of Cleveland, Ohio, played at Cleveland Heights. Eric and I have ranted and raved about Marquise Davis on this channel, so we're going to do it again. Vince Morrow guy, when the Vince Morrow picture is always on these videos when I say that. This kid's your next 1,000-yard rusher, your newest one. Obviously, it's not going to happen this year, but I would say in 27, this Marquise Davis is that guy. Could arguably be one of the best young running back prospects we've had in a very long time. He has a chance to do something really, really special. Has great speed, great vision, great moves, is not afraid of contact, sitting at 215. He's already like cut. Like he's at his playing weight. He's gonna find a way to get to the field this season. I really think he's gonna play more than what most people are anticipating, to be honest. And that's with everyone theoretically being healthy. This kid, Marquise Davis, is a baller. And I know it's bad content to just say, yeah, this guy's really good, but he is that really good. This is one that I would say put it in your back pocket for next year, but I think he's going to make a presence known this year, and he's going to really start building that hype train going into 27 to be the 1-2 punch with Keywan Brown.
I agree with you, Josh. I'm very excited for Marquise Davis. I think this dude has stud written all over him. I even have gone so far as to say, and I'll plant my flag on this, that I think by midseason he takes over running back number 2 role. And I love Keywan Brown, but Marquise is just different. Marquise to me is a mix of Keywan Brown and then Isaac Brown. As far as he has the breakaway speed, he has the ability to put his foot in the ground and make a 2-guy miss. He has the ability to spin on people. He has the ability to juke guys out of their shoes. And he's also got the ability to run somebody over if he needs to. I absolutely love his game, and I am very excited to see him and then the previous guy we just talked about, Leaky Tompkins, down the road being, 2 guys that are 6 foot, 6'1", 220+ pounds running the ball. I think the future is shining bright in the running back room.
I like the comparison of half Isaac Brown, half Keywan. I like but I don't feel like he'll be running back 2. I feel like Keywan's kind of solidified in that role, and I like the Thunder and Lightning kind of dynamic they got there. But I think Marquise allows the option that we haven't had in years past of having that option 3 that can come in and pretty much play both of their styles and kind of keep defenses guessing. It'll be more beneficial this year as you've got an offense that may be more RPO oriented.
Yeah. And then the final guy in the running back room that we're going to talk about here, that's going to be Braxton Jennings of 41-0 fame. 5'11", 195, redshirt freshman from Ashland, Kentucky. When I talk about Braxton Jennings, he was a walk-on. I believe at this time he's off of walk-on status. He's on scholarship. Braxton Jennings is everything in the Louisville, Kentucky rivalry that encompasses, to me, that the rivalry had a major shift in the past few seasons. This is a kid from Ashland that came and walked on at Louisville. He very easily, he was the type of player that, could have gotten a scholarship at Western and realistically should have went to Kentucky based off of where he came from. And with that being said, he comes in and just balls out against Kentucky last year in a just destroyed it with injury running back room. And he's still on roster here, and he's a great asset to have. He's 195, but he plays bigger than what he weighs. He's very well cut. I think you do see Braxton at times this year, and I don't know how much, but I definitely think he still makes his presence known. And yeah, I love Braxton. I think Braxton really it shows the direction Louisville football is going compared to other programs in the state.
Yeah, man, I agree with you, Josh. Braxton definitely has a spot on this team and a spot in the rotation. It may not be, more than 5 snaps a game, but he's a guy that, you have to have him on the team, even just for like a morale boost for the fans to look at and say, hey, this is our guy that we got as a walk-on out of your backyard. But I agree with you. I think he will see some game time this year. Just don't know how much it'll be.
The old Tomcat. Braxton Jennings, Josh, you kind of summed it up. He's everything about the Kentucky-Louisville rivalry and more in the modern day. Coming off a massive Governor's Cup where he brought the bat home. Braxton is a guy, just because his name might not be as flashy as others in that running back room, the heart on that kid and just the motor. Do not be shocked if he plays a lot more than people think he does in meaningful snaps at that.
Hopping around, though, going on to the next room that we're going to talk about in today's video, that would be the offensive line. Eric, this is all your specialty, brother. That's really why I wanted to get you in here.
Yes, sir.
You former Louisville O lineman yourself, this is your bread and butter. What I will say about the offensive line before we get too much into this conversation, a little bit of a reworked room here. And a lot of uncertainty with that room with new position coaches coming in and whatnot. How do you feel about the offensive line post-spring game?
Very excited about the offensive line. I think it's taken a major step forward this year versus the last couple of seasons. I definitely think there's some pieces there that they can build around and build on as far as building like a building block. Still a few holes that they need to shore up, but overall, I think the offensive line is going to be better this year than it was last year for Louisville.
First guy on our list we're going to talk about from the offensive line, that's going to be Lance Robinson, a returning name to Louisville's O-line. He's coming in at 6'4", 295. He's a graduate senior from Camilla, Georgia, playing ball at Mitchell County. Eric, what's your initial thoughts on Lance Robinson?
Lance is your glue guy, I think, on this O-line this year. He's an experienced player. He's got great technique. I mean, everybody, he's been on the rotation the last year. I know they played him at guard and they're trying to work him in it possibly at center this year. But he's one of the guys I think you could pretty much spot him anywhere on the line. He's going to give you good, meaningful reps. I really love Lance, man. I think he's a great guy. He's a great player.
Lance is the guy that, like Eric said, they're kind of slotting him into that center role. He did get started at center for the spring game. I think it's between him and Wibberley, transfer from UK. We'll talk on for the starting center role. He's a guy though that you can kind of mix and match where you want Lance to play. He's kind of that glue guy on the offensive line. That he can play guard, he can play center, and if you really want to get a little foreign, you can throw him at tackle and see what can happen. But he's willing to do the work, and he's really good at communicating with the rest of the guys on that offensive line.
Yeah, I think the one part about Lance I've always loved about his game is he has very good lateral speed. It really shows. I know he plays under 300, but he does have good lateral speed, good footwork, hence why you kind of shift him around a little bit more. It really makes me happy to have these type of guys returning into the room because it takes some of the younger guys and, they can learn underneath guys like Lance. So I love him. Really happy he's here again, and I really do hope we see him at center role personally because I think that'd be a really good spot for him. Next guy on the list is going to be Jimmy Williams III. He's coming in at 6'4", 300. He's a redshirt sophomore from Miami Gardens, Florida, playing at Old American Heritage. Eric, what are we thinking about Jimmy Williams?
Yeah, man. Jimmy was a big-time recruit, Louisville got. I think he was a high 3-star. He played offensive tackle in high school. In my opinion, with his footwork and his hip movement, he is ideally set to be a good guard. I don't know if they've switched him yet, but that would be where I would put him at. But dude, he just hasn't had a chance really to show it on the field yet, but I think he will get some reps this year. I don't know if he'll start, but I think he will definitely see some game action. And I think he has a bright future ahead of him.
Williams is currently slotted to be in that kind of 2 group, but I expect with the way they are planning on running the offense this year, you'll see a lot more of less of a base offensive line and more rotational offensive line because that's a loaded room. I expect they do have Williams primarily practicing at guard, and from what I've heard, it seems to be going very well in his ability to be able to just make holes for those running backs.
Yeah, I think that Jimmy will be rotational at guard. I don't know if he starts at any point in the year and he's withstanding, but definitely he's shown throughout spring camp and, just being here at Louisville for a little while that he has the ability to do it. He is a force when he's pulling to the outside. And that is a force of nature that Isaac Brown wants every single day when he's running those little zone concepts. So I do think he'll play. Rotational is what I'll say right now, but very excited for him because I know it has been one of those guys. You talked about the high school element of it, Eric, where it's been kind of waiting to see, okay, what can this guy really do? Next guy we're going to bring up, and this is a big portal edition that Eric and I talked about on a previous video. That'll be Eric Daughtry, 6'4", 310, redshirt junior from Boston College. Eric, what are we thinking about Eric Daughtry?
I will go on record now and say he is going to be an all-ACC first-team performer for Louisville at guard. And probably if they have the year I think they can have running the ball and he has the year, barring any injuries, he's going to make an All-American team at some point. I don't know which one, but this dude is a mauler. He's going to be one of the best offensive linemen Louisville has had in quite a long time on that O-line. Definitely an NFL-type player. Love his game. And his motor is just outstanding. He's one of those guys that he's going to take that defensive lineman, and his goal every down is to drive that guy 15 yards back. Love him. I think he can be one of the best offensive linemen Louisville's had, like I said, in quite a while.
I agree. Coming off an all-conference year at Boston College, he was one of the top 10 highest rated offensive linemen. He comes in with a lot of upside in the spring. He's proved it. His ability to come in and just lead that offensive line and kind of take some advice from some returners and Lance and Jimmy, along with some others. His ability just to adapt and just being a guy in the room, but at the same time, he is one of the guys in the room. This is your starting guard, whether it be left or right. He's going to be a force for you the entirety of the year.
Yeah, I think that Daughtry starts at left guard, honestly. Give Lincoln's blind side a little bit of help. Hands down, if he gets the penalties under control, he's going to be the best offensive lineman prospect we've had since Mekhi Becton. He has every single God-given ability that he could need. He has good lateral speed. He has good vertical speed. He can get downfield. He has the upper body motion that he needs for explosiveness on his blocks. He has good hip movement. It's literally just get the penalties under control, which were an issue at times at Boston College. And he's going to be a day one draft pick. Like I'm very confident in saying that. And that goes along with the all ACC and the potential All-American stuff that you were bringing up. He is very, very good at football. Very good at what he does. Next guy we're going to transition over to is a returning name, but still kind of a new one because he was in the portal class from last year. That'll be Nair Jackson, old Big Philly, baby. 6'6", 310. He's a redshirt senior from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Big Philly. Tell me about him, Eric.
So Nair, again, probably like the same as he was last year. I think he will see some playing time, but he's not going to be a starter. He's got great size. Needs to work on his footwork a little bit. That still seems to be an issue for him. And then I believe he had some penalty issues last year. But he's a great rotational piece to have in there. And just a big body guy that you can't teach size and weight. And to be able to throw him in as like a second unit is going to be beneficial for Louisville.
Yeah, he's going to be a more rotational piece as he was last year. One of the takeaways I've seen from him throughout the spring is there's been an uptick in terms of his agility. I think it'll allow the offense a little bit more flexibility in his usage, and I think he should see the field a little bit more, just his ability to be able to pull and be able to just make some more forceful blocking down the field.
Yeah, I think Nair had some silly moments last year. We're just being completely honest during games. He had some silliness happen. With that being said, I think he will be rotational this year. If we get the silliness under control, I think he is a great rotational piece. And without the silliness, Nair Jackson would start for I would say half of the power four. And the fact that you have guys like that as rotational is very telling about where your program's at. Really love his size, love his ability to initiate contact, just cut down on the silliness, and we should have a phenomenal year from that year. Next guy on the list, that is Evan Wibberly, 6'5", 305, redshirt senior from Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, played at Dixie Heights, and he's transferring in from the University of Kentucky. Eric, tell me a little bit about Evan Wibberly.
Yeah, so this is a great late portal edition ad for the class. A lot of people thought he'd come in and be the starting center right away. I believe that's where he played at UK. And I know, like I said, we talked about with Robinson, they're trying to move him into the center position. To me, there's a reason for that. Wibberly has all the tools. He just hasn't got it all together yet, I don't think. From the tape I've watched on him, he struggles a little bit. Footwork's still an issue. Ability to read defenders and pick up on the blitzes is also an issue for him. So that might be a reason why we see him as like a second rotational unit piece. But definitely there's something there to work with that I believe he's got a couple of years left after this year as well. Could be a good building block going forward for the O-line, but I think he'll probably be a second unit guy.
Wibberly with a red shirt last year at UK. He had an injury and was hurt for most of the season. Played some big minutes at Western, where he was before he went to the UK. Was one of the better centers in Conference USA. A lot of upside here. Don't be shocked if at some point Wibberly finds his way onto that starting offensive line and they move Lance over back to guard. Because he's got starting ability. It's just getting him accustomed and kind of tooling him a little bit just to fit what we need of him on this offensive line. But he's a great piece to have.
Yeah, I think Wibberly, like you guys hit on, very good piece to have. From what I've seen, he really kind of struggles in the past with athletic defensive tackles, that sort of thing. And Eric hit on, linebackers coming through. Anyone with a little bit of speed is kind of a struggle. He runs a very wide base. That might be why. Even with that being said, he has every single physical tool needed to be a very successful center at this level of play in the ACC. I think he's a phenomenal piece to have, and I do think that between him and Robinson, one of those two are going to be your starting center going into next year. I lean more Robinson as being the starter, but I would not be surprised to see a lot of Evan in games if they do go more rotational. All right, so the next guy we have on our list is going to be Grady Anthony, 6'5", 295, redshirt freshman from Goshen, Kentucky, playing at North Oldham High School. Eric, what do you know about Grady Anthony?
Yeah, so Grady Anthony was a 3-star recruit coming out of high school at North Oldham, like you said. Has good size for guard. He's going to be an interior piece on the O-line. I don't ever see him stretching out to tackle. To me, this guy is going to always be probably a rotational piece at best for Louisville. I don't think he's ever going to make starter. And that's nothing to knock against the guy. I mean, he's a great player. It's just Louisville has kind of got more talent in front of him. He loves Louisville as far as I can tell from everything I've read. He grew up a Louisville fan. He wants to play for Louisville. That's always a positive to have guys like that on your team. That being said, he took a redshirt year. He's worked on his footwork. I know that was a big issue with him coming out of high school and his hip movement, and he's gotten a lot stronger. So this could be a guy you will probably see maybe in blowouts, like the Villanova game, for example. If Louisville's up big in that game, he'll probably get some run. But I don't expect him to be a major contributor this year. But again, it's a great piece to have on the team, and it's always great to have guys that want to be here on the team.
Yeah, he falls under the kind of the same group that we spoke on the last week's part of the video in this series. If you want to watch that video, links down below. Grady Anthony's a glue guy. He's the guy that loves Louisville. He's the guy that him being in that room makes the room better because it just kind of furthers the culture in that room. He's on the 2 and 3 line for that offensive line this year. Could see him rotate in. Obviously, injuries pending. If injuries occur more than others, but he's a guy that's willing to put in the work. He's a guy that's more than capable. It's just that they've brought in some talent via portal or via the high school ranks that is a little bit further along at this point. Not to say that he can't catch up because like you touched on, Grady's a great player, and we're grateful to have him here.
Yeah, man, I think Grady is a great culture guy. He's a guy that is going to be extremely valuable on this team going through fall camp, just helping guys get reps on the ones. He has the size to kind of imitate what you're going to see on Saturdays from some of these other programs, being at 6'5". Has a motor on him. He's a local kid. I love to have him here. I love that he likes to be here. That's always a positive. And, just this year, let's try to progress a little bit and then come back to this next year to see, hey, are we going to be rotational? Where are we at? And then how can we keep improving? But for now, great guy to have on the roster. He's just going to continuously make your D-line better. Next guy we have on the list here, that's going to be Ellis McAdoo. He's coming in at 6'5", 295, just like Grady Anthony. He is a redshirt sophomore from Elmhurst, Illinois. Played his ball at St. Thomas More High School. Eric, what can you tell us about Ellis McAdoo?
So Ellis, like you said, same size as Grady Anthony. He actually saw some minutes last year as a redshirt freshman for Louisville, albeit they were in like blowouts, but he still got playing time. Everything I've heard on him, he has progressed quite well, according to some of the people I've talked to. Again, going to be a guy that at best I would say would probably be like a rotational piece this year, and that would be sparingly. I don't expect him to be one of the top, 8 or 9 guys on the O-line. But again, hard worker, always there, always great attitude from everything I've heard from people, and that's always something that, valuable to have on the team. But definitely a guy that, like we said, could work into some PT, but is probably going to need another year or so before we actually see him in a rotational kind of moment.
Yeah. He's one of those guys that come in, he works hard every day. You got a new O-line coach, so there's opportunity there to kind of prove it throughout spring camp and fall camp. He's got to get opportunities to get really pushed against that starting defensive line in fall camp. I would not be shocked to see him kind of rolled in and rotationally throughout this fall. I feel like maybe another year off before either 1 or 2 line on the offensive line for him, but he's steadily been improving since he got here, and he's a story that would be interesting to watch as time goes on.
Yeah, so I think you see a lot out of Ellis actually this year on field goal. Just being completely honest, he's a big dude. I think it works out well. Granted, that is if we have a kicker. But that's a different conversation. With Ellis, very similar to Grady Anthony, with Ellis, very similar to Grady Anthony, just very good size, still a little bit raw. The one thing I will say with Ellis, I think Ellis has a lot of upside. I wouldn't be surprised to see him get worked more and more into the rotation as the season goes on, to where maybe by the end of the year he is getting kind of those 2 rotational reps. Really excited to see him in the future. Again, it's one of those guys where it's a gestation period and it's just still kind of waiting to see what we have, but there's nothing wrong with that. Next guy we're going to be talking about now, that'll be Johnny Brown III, coming to us from the transfer portal this year. He is 6'3", 310. He's a redshirt senior, coming to us via ways of Georgia Southern. He played in Lilburn, Georgia, from Parkview High School. Tell me a little bit about some Johnny Brown III action, Eric.
Yeah, man. So this was the guy I was really excited for out of the portal class on the O-line. He picked Louisville over Clemson. Clemson was really heavy on him and wanted him really badly. He ideally fits in at guard. So I don't know if they can slide him as a starter this year or a 2 deep piece, but he is definitely going to play. Great hip movement, great motor, strong as an ox. I mean, this dude might be one of the strongest O-linemen we have on the team. Really love his game. I think he was an all-conference performer last year for Georgia Southern. So I expect you're going to see a lot of him on the field this year. I just don't know if he's going to be starter or if he's going to be a rotational 2-piece, like second unit guy coming in, but he's a great player.
Yeah. He's a former all-conference at Georgia Southern. He's definitely locked into being in your 2-man. It's just depending on how you kind of want to shuffle that around on where you want to put him. He very easily could be the other guard opposite side of Daughtry. He's very powerful. He's able to really move some holes and allow some variability in that offensive line for those running backs to run through, as well as Lincoln to be able to have a little bit more time back there in the passing game.
Yeah, I love Johnny's game. Personally, I think he's the guy you slot in right behind Daughtry to kind of be his 2 rotational. I think he has all the tools. He's really, really good. Just maybe not as much size as Daughtry. He's about an inch shorter, which would be a little bit of a disadvantage, but really good off of a pull, can play interior really well. can muck it up in the center. I like Johnny a lot. He's a strong dude. Like you said, he's like an ox. I like it. It's one of the really good pickups out of the transfer portal, just being very honest. Next guy we have on the list, that is going to be James Glover Tyson, offensive lineman, 6'6", 325, redshirt junior from Louisville, Kentucky, in a little old high school in the South End called DeSales High School, baby. Tell me a little bit about some James Glover Tyson action.
Yeah. So this guy, I believe he entered the portal this past offseason and ended up coming back to Louisville, which is a big win. Like I said, as we talk about the other guys, it's always great to have guys here that want to be here. But James, man, he's got great size. I mean, he's a big boy out there. Doesn't have the speed that is needed to be a starter quality or rotational piece guy. If anything, I could see him, like you said, with McAdoo, kicking unit, getting some run. But that's probably where you're going to see him at mostly. I guess I don't think, no knock to the guy. He's a great guy. Just I don't think he has the talent to crack the rotational piece on the O-line right now.
He's a guy that's been consistently trying to improve, bringing him back for the continuity and kind of have another kind of a jail kind of piece to help the new guys kind of gel with the new offense. I do think he sees the field this fall more so on punt and on the punt team and kicks. He's a guy that I'd like to see consistently keep getting better. Because it's always nice to see the local guys get some shine for the Cards.
Yeah, man. I mean, I love James for obvious reasons. I'm a DeSales guy. It's the best school in the South End, so there you go. James is a really big body kid. He does struggle a little bit with his movement. Just being completely honest with you, his footwork is not fully there, but just his size alone is insane. I don't think he's a guy that sees the 1 or 2s this year. Just being very realistic with you. Would not, like you said, Jay or Eric, kicking unit, this is somewhere he's going to fit in. And even would I would go as far to say, it would not surprise me to see him on the field goal blocking team specifically, because he has that much size and he can eat 3 guys. He can eat 3 blockers on that unit. He's a great guy to have on your practice squads and whatnot, running with your 1s and 2s, because he just makes your D-line that much better because of the size that he has. I love James. Go Colts. Go Cards. And I think he's a very valuable piece of this team that we need. Next guy we have on our list, Anwar O'Neal, coming to us via the transfer portal again. Another new transfer portal guy. 6'5", 310 senior from Philadelphia. Played his ball at Delaware, where he was all-conference USA. Eric, tell me a little bit about some Anwar O'Neal.
So, again, as we talked about before with other guys on this O-line, this guy is a mauler. He's one of those guys, if anybody's seen The Blind Side with Michael Orr, the part of The Blind Side where he takes the guy and just takes him, pushing him over the fence. That's what O'Neal wants to do every play. Great footwork, great speed for an offensive tackle. I think the knock on him when he was at Delaware was he was a little bit on the like lower end on the strength size. So if he could add some strength to his game, that would be helpful. And he is a little bit behind on his hip movement, but that's all things that can be fixed. And he should be, once he's healthy, should be starter at one of the tackle positions. Really like his game, man. I think he has a chance to be, but if he can get in there, could be like an all conference type of offensive tackle for Louisville. He's really good.
Yeah. So I think O'Neal's your starting left tackle. Obviously, he got a little banged up in the spring, and Jeff has kind of came out and said he'll miss the start of the season. So it's working to get him back as quickly as possible so this offense can really gel. He's a big piece to have to protect Lincoln's blind side, to kind of pair him with Daughtry. It's a really strong offensive line, and O'Neal's a big piece of that. And this offense can only get better whenever he gets healthy.
Yeah, so, I mean, injury news aside, I'll be quite blank. I think Anwar's the best pass blocker on the team. I think he's that good. I do think he plays a left tackle. He has every single God-given ability that he needs. He has some skills that he needs. I think he's really good at pass block, and I think he has great hand skills, and this guy's going to be just such a great piece on this offensive line when he gets healthy, and we can't get him healthy enough. Moving on over to the next guy, staying in the transfer portal additions here a little bit, we have Cason Henry, 6'6", 300, 6'6", redshirt senior from Marietta, Georgia, coming to us ways of South Carolina. Tell me a little bit about Cason, Eric. I know we've talked about him before on the show.
This is my guy. I think that's going to have a breakout year as long as he can stay healthy. He dealt with injuries at South Carolina. But this guy has, like you said with O'Neal, all the God-given ability in the world to be an elite tackle for Louisville. Um, Great footwork, great strength, great hip movement, gets off the ball good. I mean, I think if he has a solid year and plays the whole season, he's going to be an all-conference type performer on the O-line. I'm really, really excited for him, man.
Kaysen was a big get for us when we got him from South Carolina. It was one of the bigger wins that I think we had. That was kind of more of a silent, huge win. He's probably your starting right tackle. South Carolina didn't have the greatest offensive line last year, but if you talk to anybody around that program, they'll tell you if they could tell you one offensive lineman they did not want to see go, it's Kaysen. Kaysen's just got to get healthy. He's kind of rehabbing injury he had from last year. He's getting closer every day. He will be back before around that June timeframe that kind of a few others are coming back at. But if he can kind of put together a complete season injury free, he has all the talent in the world that you would want at right tackle. There's a reason why so many SEC schools were after him, even in transfer portal and out of high school. Mason's a dude, and you pair him with everybody else on the offensive line, it's going to allow for explosive offense.
Yeah, man, Kaysen is one of those kids that you don't see at a program like Louisville very often, in my opinion. He is the very definition of solid mid-2000s SEC offensive line play. When he gets, got to figure out the injury thing, get the injury under control, because that's been an issue throughout his career. When he does, though, that kid is solid. Like y'all hit on in the portal, Louisville was fighting with everybody for Kaysen, and they got him. The kid is a baller. Like, he is very, very good at what he does. He has all the tools. Just figure out the injury thing, man, and he's going to be a starter on this offensive line, and he's going to be very good at what he does. Next guy we're going to be talking about, that's going to be Sam Seacrest. He is 6'5", 300, redshirt senior from Greenwood, Indiana. Played his high school ball at Ron Cali High School. Eric, tell me a little bit about Sam Seacrest.
Yeah, so Sam, I believe, is primarily going to be a center on this offensive line. Great size. For everything I've heard, he can diagnose a defense blitz package really well. The knock on him is the footwork isn't there right now. The hip movement isn't there, and the get off isn't there. So if that's stuff that he can work on and get better at, he could definitely rotate in on this O line. I think the plan for him would be to get to like a two deep, like a secondary rotational piece, and be the backup center or going forward.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I've heard as well. Sam's a guy they're really high on. They brought him back a couple of seasons ago in the transfer portal. He kind of learned a little bit behind Pete, and now he gets opportunity to learn behind Lance and Evan. The kind of goal I think long term would be kind of bump Evan to full time to center at some point, and have Sam kind of bump up to the two deep, and Lance to kind of roll over to guard to get a little bit more depth at that position. Sam has a real opportunity to get some time on the field this fall, between either getting up into the two deep or on special teams, because he's a guy that has a lot of upside. It's just putting all the pieces together.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of Sam Seacrest, is he has all that upside and he's so interchangeable. I really do think you could make the argument to put him as center, guard, or tackle on this roster. And truthfully, I think he kind of plays all three this year. I think he sits right on the edge of that two deep, and he just finds ways to get on the field, and he gets on the field, whatever that be. And, he plays solid football. So I'm excited for Sam. I'm glad to have him back here. I know it's been a couple of years since he's came back, but still welcome back. And I think he's just a versatile player that you can find. Before we start talking about the next guy, I just want to say we have 5 names left on this list. And no disrespect to anyone that we've talked about, but these 5 last names are the ones that get me really, really excited about the future of this football program. First guy we're going to be talking about is Ben Corhi. He's a 2025 high school commit, 6'5", 300, freshman from Valdosta, Georgia. Played his football at Lowndes High School. I know we've talked about Ben before on this page, Eric. Tell me a little bit more about Ben Corhi.
Yeah, Corey is one of the guys in the class that I think is vastly underrated for this O-line that they got. He played pretty much every position in high school. I mean, he can play tackle. He can play inside at guard. He can go to center. He was committed to Louisville, then backed off that commitment, flipped to South Florida, and then came back to Louisville on signing day. From everything I've heard on him, he's probably going to take a redshirt year this year, would be my guess. But going forward, if he can add some weight and just get a little bit quicker from what he was in high school, this guy is going to be an absolute steal on this O-line. In my opinion, he is probably your center of the future. I think that's where he's best suited at on the O-line, but definitely one of the guys I really like.
Yeah. Corey brings a lot of variability to the offensive line. I do see him possibly redshirting this year. I think he's a name that if you for Louisville fans, say you can just like take that name, put it in their back pocket, and know you've got a stud. Played high level high school football. He was a steal. We got off signing day from South Florida. He's a piece that can make some plays across the line of scrimmage wherever you need him, whether it be at tackle, guard, or at center. I do see him more at center, and he kind of fills out that room nicely with the rest of the class that have also came in with him.
Yeah, so for Ben, again, like you all said, I also believe that he's going to redshirt this year. I just don't see a way for him to fit onto the field. But he was so underrated out of high school if you watched his film. And for the level that he played at in Valdosta, it's just he was so underrated. I personally think he's going to fit in more to guard role here at Louisville. I think he's going to put on the weight to play there. Just being very truthful, but very bright future ahead of you. And this is a guy that's going to be a centerpiece on your offensive line for years to come. The next guy we're talking about is Eric's guy. This is big Eric's guy. This is also a Vince Morrow man, so put in the clip. Jarvis Strickland, 6'4", 295 freshman from Paducah, Kentucky, played his ball at Paducah Tillman High School. Eric, I know you could talk about Jarvis Strickland for 15 minutes, but keep it short, brother. Tell me a little bit about Jarvis.
And Jarvis, I'll mark it down now for me. I'll go on this hill. It's probably going to be the best offensive tackle we've had here since Mekhi Becton. He will be in the 2 deep this year as a true freshman. I can pretty much guarantee you of that. Dude has all the talent in the world. 6'6", right around 300 pounds. He needs to add about 10 to 15 pounds of muscle onto his frame. Ideally, playing weight should be anywhere between 310 to 315 for him. You stick him out at either left or right tackle, and this guy is going to just be a wall. Love his game. Has all the technique, everything you want to see out of a tackle. He is very polished for a high school prospect coming in. And this guy is going to be a name to know going forward for Louisville fans on the O-line.
Paducah Tillman's a football factory in the state of Kentucky. It has been for the better part of the past 50 years, and it's no different now. He's a guy that's had excellent coaching throughout his career in the high school ranks. He's got all the size in the world. His technique in all the camps has shown through. There's a reason why he was a high 4-star, pushing 5-star in the high school ranks coming out of this class. He was a big steal when we were able to get him to flip from the University of Kentucky. I would not be shocked if he's in the 2 deep and gets significant playing time this fall, but this is your kind of right or left tackle of the future, depending on how everything shakes out with the rest of the line.
Yeah, it's not going to happen in 2027, but in 2029, Jarvis Strickland's going to be a first-round draft pick. I'm already planting that flag. One of the best offensive line commits you've ever gotten out of high school, highest ranked, and just by game alone, just an amazing offensive tackle. He's going to see the field this year. He's worth the hype. Kid's going to be a first-round draft pick in a few years. Just everyone prepare yourselves for that. And Vince Morrow guy, baby. We love our Vince Morrow guys. It's getting to the point now when I say Vince Morrow guy, it's like the Paul Heyman guy from WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Next guy we're going to talk about here is going to be Cameron Gorin, another fun name to talk about. He is 6'5", 295, redshirt freshman from Fishers, Indiana. Played his high school ball at Hamilton Southeastern. Eric, tell me a little bit about Cameron Gorin.
Yeah, man. So everything I've heard from the spring about him is he has impressed the staff tremendously. It seems like he's taken a big step forward from his high school film. And if I'm not wrong, I think his father played in the NFL, I believe, as well. So he's a son of an NFL player. Yeah. Don't be surprised if he doesn't crack the 2 deep as well as a backup somewhere, especially with O'Neal being hurt. I mean, he could come in and start. Really love his game. Fluid as all get out. Has great center, great hip movement, feet work, everything. I mean, he just needs to get a little bit more weight on him, but he's going to be a very good player going forward for a little.
Yeah. Gorin, obviously, Josh, me and you have talked about how I feel about Cameron. I think Cameron's your starting tackle to start the year as O'Neal kind of works his way back. He's improved significantly since he's got on campus in this spring. He's really showed out. He's had one of the better springs of any of the offensive linemen, whether it be returning or newcomers. He's a guy that just shows up every day, does his job, and he's willing to kind of fit in wherever the coaches need him. And he really has fit that tackle role very nicely with the ones throughout the spring.
Yeah, man, from all reports, Cameron's had just a hell of a spring for being an underclassman, running a lot with the ones and the twos at tackle. I think that continues throughout the year, and I do think because of the O'Neal injury, he will see some much earlier playing time, but it wouldn't surprise me if it sticks at the end of the day. And this is a kid that's consistently coming in and out of games. He is a freak on a leash. He's got the wingspan to play tackle and play tackle very well at that. Very good pass blocker, very good run blocker. He's a guy that is going to be very, very nice piece in the future on your offensive line. Next guy we're going to be talking about now, that's going to be Tyler Fulmar, 6'6", 315, redshirt freshman from Cantonment, Florida. Played his ball at Tate High School. Tell me a little about some Tyler Fulmar, Eric.
Yeah, so Tyler has great size. The knock on him right now is just the quickness isn't there for the college level, especially at Louisville. If he can work on his speed and his acceleration off the ball, he could see some playing time in the two deep. But right now, I don't think he's quite there yet. That's not to say they can't work him up to that. But again, like we talked about with some other guys, I could see him getting some run on like special teams and or on a field goal block. He's a big boy, takes up a lot of space. But right now, probably at best this year, working him into like a rotational piece type of guy.
Yeah, he's a young guy. He's a really good run blocker. It's just getting him adjusted to the college game at the ACC level. I think you won't see him much here in the two deep this fall. You may see him in some kind of games such as the early on one against Villanova, but he may see some time in special teams. But this year's more of a kind of just retool, get up to speed, and kind of come back next year and see where we can go from there. Just kind of see what should we have and kind of go from there.
Yeah, I don't think Tyler sees the field very much this year outside of, the special teams like you all mentioned. Along with you guys, he has the physical skills. It's just kind of refining those a little bit for, a higher level of play in the Power 4. And I think this is the year that Tyler does that. I think you get him on a really good weight conditioning program and, he kind of thrives, and then put that in your back pocket. And then next year we're going to reevaluate, and it probably will be a pretty valuable piece on this offensive line in 2027. Final guy we're talking about, and this is one I think that we all really like. Last one is Charlie Edgeworth, 6'7", 320, true freshman from the 2025 high school class from Chattanooga, Tennessee. And James, what high school is in Chattanooga, Tennessee that we also have a player from?
The Baylor School.
The Baylor School, exactly. It all comes full circle. Eric, tell me a little bit about Charlie Edgeworth.
Man, I'm very excited for Edgeworth. I think he has all the talent and all the skills needed to be an elite level tackle. And I think you give him a year to learn the system and just kind of get in college football shape. And that's no knock on him at all, but high school shape and college shape is a little bit different. It's two different things. But if you get him ready to go by next fall, you pair him and Strickland together at the tackle position, you are set for a good 2 years there with two elite level tackles. Edgeworth has all the talent. Like I said, technique is amazing. He's big. He had offers from Auburn, Tennessee. Every SEC school you could think of was after him. So to get him out of the Baylor school, it was a big, big get for that recruiting class. And I think this guy could be a stud going forward on the O-line.
His length, his kind of hip movement, everything, his technique, it's beautiful to watch from the tackle position. He's a big get. We have two big gets, obviously, with Briggs Terry also coming along with him. Charlie is a guy that I think he's more pro college ready than it. Like Jarvis and him both have pro size already. It's just kind of bringing them up to the speed of the college game. And I think he's gotten up to speed a lot quicker than coaches initially anticipated. It's just kind of figuring out where we go from here and kind of I would not be shocked if he breaks the two deep this fall. A ton of talent and just raw football IQ. And like you said, and for years to come, this team's set at tackle.
So if Briggs Cherry is the quarterback of the future, which I think we're all in agreement of, and Edgeworth is Cherry's hand choice of his tackle, well, then that makes Edgeworth the tackle of the future. Something we don't talk about enough in football is the chemistry between a quarterback and an offensive line. That's been established for a very long time with Charlie Edgeworth and Briggs Cherry. I personally think Edgeworth redshirts this year, and they really work on him through that, strength and conditioning program, kind of getting him up to speed a little bit more where he needs it. But this guy's going to be a staple in your tackle room for 3-4 years after this. Like, he is a very good player. He has the size, big time player. He's going to be a good one for you. But that's going to wrap us up for our conversation today. We were hitting on running backs and offensive linemen. And do me a favor, if you're watching this video right now, and we're about at the hour mark, okay? You're still watching. Go ahead and like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. You obviously like this content if you've just listened to us talk about offensive line play for 45 minutes. I know I do. Subscribe to the page, really helps us grow. Completely free on your part, so please do that for us. With that being said, though, that's going to wrap us up on today's conversation. We will catch you guys next week talking about our new position group to keep adding to this ever-growing video content series that we're doing. Thank you for your patronage, and we'll see you guys next time. Go Cards.
Go Cards.